Welcome to the Bellator 206 conference call, and I'll turn the line over to Danny Brenner.
Hi, everybody, and thank you for joining us on the Bellator 206 media conference call. This highly anticipated event marks the first Bellator show airing exclusively on the DAZN streaming service and takes place next Saturday, September 29th, from the SAP Center in San Jose, California. A quick reminder that Bellator 205 returns to action this Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern, and features A.J. McKee versus John Macapa and Rafael Lovato Jr. versus John Salter. On today's call, we've got Bellator President Scott Coker, SVP North America for DAZN Joseph Markovsky, Middleweight World Champion Gegard Mousasi, Welterweight World Champion Rory MacDonald, as well as legendary former world champions Rampage Jackson and Wanderlei Silva. If you'd like to ask a question to any of the speakers on today's call, please dial *1 on your telephone to be placed into the queue. I'll now turn it over to Scott Coker for opening remarks.
Yeah, thanks, Danny. I'd just like to say, in my years as a MMA fight promoter, let's say this is one of the biggest events I've been associated with, and it'll be one of the biggest events in MMA in 2018. It's a perfect way to kick off our relationship with a new partner at DAZN. I'd like to thank Joseph Markovsky, James Rushton, John Skipper. Everybody's been great to work with. It's been a smooth transition, and we're looking forward to putting on a great show for you guys. This is a pay-per-view quality event that most fans would pay $70 for, like the Madison Square Garden event that we did 18 months ago. It speaks a lot about Bellator's evolution with a roster featuring the best fighters in the world. And this card also speaks to Bellator's rapid growth as a global brand. We feature fighters from all over the world: the Netherlands, Canada, United States, Russia, Brazil. Looking forward to seeing Aaron Pico fight, as well as all the fighters on the call today. So I wish everybody luck, and I'll pass it back to you, Danny.
And Joseph, if you'd like to make any opening remarks on behalf of DAZN. Joseph, are you there? All right, we might have lost Joseph. So, operator, if we can, we'll open it to the first media question, and then if Joseph returns, we'll let you guys know.
Our first question comes from the line of Steve Juwan with MMA Mania.
Thank you, operator. My first question is for Quentin Rampage Jackson. This fight, the fourth in the series, that's Wanderlei Silva, is exciting to the MMA world because of the historic rivalry between the two. But what, sir, does it mean to you personally?
Well, Wanderlei defeated me 2 times to my 1. I'm looking to even up the score.
And how do you plan to do that here at Bellator 206 on DAZN?
By beating his ass.
Well, that's what you always say. But in particular, what do you feel is the one thing that you can work on to improve over your previous performances in Bellator?
Well, my previous performance in Bellator, I had to face wrestlers, and there's no secret, those are always hard fights for me, even though I'm a wrestler, but because I decided to work a lot on my striking and try to be a more exciting fighter for the fans. So I have a hard time against wrestlers, but Wanderlei is not a wrestler. So I think that no matter what, I think I have a puncher's chance in this fight, and I think the way to beat Wanderlei is by beating his ass.
Well, we look forward to seeing that then at Bellator 206. And to Wanderlei, do you agree with Rampage's assessment? And if not, how do you think you'll win the fight?
Hello?
Hello, Wanderlei. How do you think you'll win the fight at Bellator 206?
Yeah, I know this fight for sure not going to be finished. And for sure I'm going to beat him up or knock out him.
All right. And what are your thoughts on renewing this historic rivalry that dates all the way back to Pride?
Yeah, you can repeat. You can talk a little bit slowly, please.
Sure. Can you tell us your thoughts on this historic rivalry continuing between the two of you that dates back to Pride?
Yeah, well, this is the same rivalry because he knows and everybody knows and I don't like him. And he don't like me out each other, no? And for sure, it's going to be a good fight.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. And for Gegard Mousasi, I want your thoughts on Rory MacDonald. Is he stretching himself too thin by going for your middleweight title while he's the welterweight champion?
Well, I don't think so. I think there's a good chance. Obviously, there will be a weight difference, but not going to be much. Maybe 10 pounds. That's not going to decide who's going to win or not. But I'm coming in there to win. If I have to outpower him, I do that. If I have to outsmart him, I find a way to win. Doesn't matter the weight difference, but I feel like I'm the better fighter, and that's going to make the difference.
Thank you, sir. Finally, for Rory MacDonald, he just said that he thinks he's the better fighter. Obviously, you're trying to prove that by going for 2 titles at once. So what is your response?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to go in there and I'm going to fight hard. We're both well-rounded fighters, so this fight could take place anywhere, on the ground, standing, So I think it's going to be a hard-nosed fight. We're both skilled in all areas of mixed martial arts, so,
Steve, we've got Joseph Markovsky, the SVP of North America for DAZN, back on the line. Joseph, if you'd like to make any opening remarks on behalf of DAZN, floor is yours.
I'd love to, guys, and sorry for the technical issues. Thanks to Scott for hosting and to all the media for joining. We appreciate it, and I'm particularly excited to speak with you all today because I think up until now in the US, much of the press on DAZN in our business is focused on our boxing offering when in reality, we're equally committed, invested in the sport of MMA, and we're really excited about getting that going next weekend on the 29th. So, listen, I think it goes without saying, Bellator is a world-class MMA organisation, and we are really confident this 29th of September card is symbolic of what the DAZN and Bellator partnership can bring to the table in the US. I think Scott would agree at the heart of our deal from the very start was a commitment to delivering stacked fight cards and bringing top-level talent to the table. You can see that on this card, and with the signing of Lyoto Machida, in addition to the December the 15th card, we're very excited about the momentum that we are building in this partnership immediately. As you can probably tell from my accent, I'm not from the US, and because of my upbringing in Europe and my previous roles for the company in Asia, I think it's fair to say that US fight fans are currently drastically underserved by their broadcast partners. I mean, you're being asked to pay the US fight sports fan up to $200 a month on a premium cable package, and then at regular intervals paying $75 to $100 on top of that in pay-per-view fees for major fight nights. And our whole approach with DAZN is very different. Our brand represents significantly better value to MMA and boxing fans upon our launch immediately, and that's best represented by the fact that we have more than 80 fight nights committed in our opening 12 months, starting this weekend and rolling into the 29th of September. All of those fight nights are offered at just $9.99 per month after a 1-month free trial, so tremendous value. Speaking to this card next weekend, Bellator 206, it really is stacked from top to bottom. We're really happy with it. And I think in more traditional times, it's a card that can produce some really good numbers as a pay-per-view card. But we're very keen to stress through our partnership with Bellator, we're going to be offering all of our content, all of our MMA content, all of our boxing content, all of our broader fight sports offering on DAZN for only $9.99 a month following that 1-month free trial. And while we might expect our biggest MMA subscriber base here in the US, where Scott has been building the brand, it's important to stress also that Bellator fights will also be available across our platform in 3 continents, in the US, Canada, Germany, Austria, Switzerland, Italy, and Japan. So DAZN's a global business. We're a fan-focused business, and we're multi-sport. We're very excited to be starting our first chapter in the US this weekend and moving into the 29th, very much focused on combat sports, but it won't be long until you see us expand our wings to include a broader multi-sport offering, and we'll do that quicker than I think most people will expect. So it's going to be a fun ride, and we very much encourage everyone to check us out on September 29th by signing up at DAZN.com or DAZN our app on your preferred app store for your preferred connected device. So thanks for the opportunity to speak, and happy to take any questions.
Thank you, Joseph. Operator, if we can continue with the media questions at this time.
Our next question comes from the line of Steven Muehlhausen with SportingNews.com.
Hi, guys. Thank you for taking time out today. And I just want a couple quick questions for Wanderlei. And Wanderlei, you've had a historic career and one of the greatest careers in the history of mixed martial arts. But I've seen recently you've talked about you're going to be getting into politics. Will September 29th, will that be, win, lose, or draw, will that be the end of Wanderlei Silva's career?
Yeah, I feel good. I'm training good, and I feel good about this card. We're gonna have a great fight. I'm so thankful to Bellator to put me in this card in this time, and I'm so happy because I have a lucky on San Jose. I won over there. Now the public all cheers for me, and it's a great opportunity for me to fight there again to these beautiful people.
You know, a lot of, you know, you don't see guys fighting 4 times. It's never happened in this sport. We've seen rematches, we've seen trilogies. What does this rivalry with Rampage mean to you on a personal level?
Yeah, okay. This is because it's a real rival. And a real rival is everybody want to see it because it don't exist anymore. You know? And I and him always make a good fight, and this time is going to be one of the best fights of the night for sure.
Do you respect Rampage?
Yeah, of course. He's a good fighter, you know. Now he's a little bit fat, but it's okay. I hope he can fight good like the other time.
And I'll end with this. What do you feel like you need to do to win at Bellator 206?
Yeah, because I won 2 fights, but in other events I lost the last, and now I need to back to one. No, I need this victory because I want to show everybody my power and my technique, you know. And I know I'm gonna do this again.
Thank you, Wanderlei, and thank you guys for the time.
Our next question comes from the line of Lance Pugmire with Los Angeles Times.
Hi, Rory. This is for you. I wanted to ask, you know, on the heels of your epic fight against Lawler, and even, you know, dealing with the injury that you did in winning the belt last time, you've really taken on like an image of being perhaps one of the grittiest fighters that MMA has ever seen. Now that you're moving up in weight for another belt, is that something that you're sort of, you know, that you've recognized and you want to stand as that guy at the end of the day?
It's definitely not the kind of fight that I enjoy to get in because it gets pretty uncomfortable in there when you have to push through those kind of barriers. But with my experience with Lawler, I've had a tough fight with Carlos Condit, with Lima. I've had a few of these tough fights that I've had to push myself and break down walls, and you know, you learn to stay more composed with experience in those situations, and you get more relaxed, and you just learn how to deal with it better. So I feel like I've kind of learned the hard way how to get through these kind of wars when I need to. But it's not my favorite way to win a fight. My favorite way is to win without a scratch, and that's always the goal. But at this level, you can't always have it that way. And so I'm prepared for the worst, but hoping for the best.
Right. Thank you so much. And then, Gegard, how do you feel about, I mean, this is such a significant card, like Scott was saying. You've got now the DAZN backing financially. Did you feel like your move to Bellator is perfect timing? And now I know that Scott has always made a big deal about, guys who will be jumping ship from the UFC. Do you expect a bigger exodus based on the success of Bellator and where it stands right now?
Bellator is growing, no doubt about it. I think the last couple of years, I was fighting at UFC, Bellator 200. I got the opportunity to fight at the main event. Now fighting Rory in a super fight for DAZN. I got to fight for the belt. These opportunities that I get now, I wouldn't have gotten it if I was in UFC. So I'm very thankful. They have trust in me. So I just have to do my job and put on good fights and win. So of course, the Bellator is growing. I think it will soon. It's growing. It's going very well. What can I say?
Yeah. Can you? Do you think part of that? I know that the UFC has sort of taken on this a reputation for highlighting the guys who are the big talkers, whereas does Bellator sort of just reward the guys who can, are just the most skilled fighters, and you don't have to do all that talking? Fights that's going on in the UFC?
I feel UFC is declining because they're putting bad cards. The main events are not that intriguing. You have a lot of big names fighting now in Bellator. You have Quinton versus Wanderlei. That's a super fight at its own. So obviously Machida is now here. Ryan Bader. You have Matt Mitrione. You have so many big names. So I think because of my long career, I'm now where I should be, and I'm taking every chance that I get to fight for the big fights.
Great. Thank you so much. I had one more question, if I can just sneak it into Rampage. Rampage, with Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz fighting, what do you think of that? And as a fighter who's a veteran himself, I mean, how cognizant do you have to be about, this is I'm nearing the end of the line here. It may be time to walk away.
Well, a lot of fans criticize fighters as we get older and stuff like that, but I'd say, this is what we know, and this is the sport that we love, and even though we get older and stuff, we still want to participate in it. I personally don't see anything wrong with older fighters still getting out there and fighting, and I think it's better to fight another older fighter instead of like fighting like a younger guy, because that can be a lot dangerous. But I got nothing against Tito or Chuck, so I'm cool with both of them. I respect both of them. I trained with Tito all the years, fought Chuck twice, and I think that I know Tito wants to beat Chuck, so I see that as the reason for him fighting the third time. But I just hope it's a good fight. I hope both of them safe, because both of those guys are older than me. When I get their age, I know I'll probably be doing other things like fishing and stuff like that. But okay, they love the sport. More power to them.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it, guys.
Our next question comes from the line of Alex Lee with MMA Fighting.
Hi guys, I've got one for Rampage first. Wanderlei, had spoken about, and someone touched upon earlier that he's spoken about eventually moving on from fighting, getting into politics. What would it mean to you if you were to be his last opponent, given the history that you two have?
Well, no disrespect to Wanderlei, but I figured I was going to be his last opponent anyway, because after this fight, he's not going to even want to see a cage anymore.
Okay, thanks. And for Gegard, this is kind of a little bit of a deep question, but it's been over 9 years since you last fought in San Jose. The arena was the HP Pavilion back then. What kinds of emotions or memories do you have going back to the same place where you beat Babalu to win the Strikeforce light heavyweight title?
Well, at that moment, I was scheduled to fight in Affliction against Vitor Belfort, I remember. But Vitor Belfort didn't want that fight because he didn't want to go up to 205. And then we suggested to do a 195 catchweight. He didn't accept it, and then he went to UFC, and then he fought Rich Franklin, I believe, at that catchweight. So, and then I was scheduled to make a lot of money at Affliction, but of course the show got canceled. And then Scott gave me the opportunity to fight for the belt against Babalu. We didn't like it because we got paid less, but of course at the end it was perfect for me because I got to be in Affliction and I got to win the title. So I have a good memories of that. So yeah, going back now, defense against Rory, a big fight. So hopefully we have a good result. And yeah, that's the memory that I have from San Jose.
Okay, great. Thanks, guys.
Our next question comes from the line of Damon Martin with FlowCombat.com.
Hey guys, first question for Scott Coker. Scott, you have two fighters coming up here, potentially going to have two belts. If Rory wins, and then obviously you got Ryan Bader in the heavyweight tournament. Have you decided, will you allow both guys to keep both titles and defend both titles if that happens? where's your stance on that? Because technically you would have two champions holding two titles in two different divisions.
Yeah, I mean, that's something that, that we'll sit down and talk to each fighter. And I think they're, should be treated independently of each other. Rory will enter the 170-pound tournament after this fight with Gegard. So, we'll talk to Rory and see how he felt. And a lot of it will depend on what the fighter wants to do. But, listen, that door is open, and we're not going to close it, but we'll take it on a case-by-case basis.
Awesome. A couple of questions for Rory. Rory, you're going up weight to middleweight here. How are you handling the additional weight, and how confident are you in, getting that weight off pretty much immediately afterwards and going back to 170 because you're going to have a welterweight title defense, after this fight?
I didn't put any other extra weight on. I'm just fighting at my natural weight. So it'll be it won't be a stress to get back to welterweight.
Was that important for you to do that? Because you hear so many guys talk about, going up in weight requires you to add so much weight. Was that important to you not to do that, not to go that route?
From my point of view, if I put on extra weight, it's just going to be fake anyway. It's just going to be, bloating weight that's going to slow me down and take away from my strength that I already have, being at my natural weight. So, after my Lima fight, I focused on improving some of my power and strength. But, besides that, I wasn't trying to gain weight or anything like that. So I'm fighting at my natural weight. It's not going to be a stretch for me. It's going to be an easy time making weight, and getting to welterweight will be no problem because I'm right where I was before anyway.
And kind of a follow-up to that question I asked Scott, Rory, assuming everything goes well on the 29th and you're able to get past, Gegard and Mousasi, do you have it in your head to where you want to defend both titles? You want to hold on to both titles?
Yeah, I would like to. I'd have to talk with Bellator because I have the obligation of doing the welterweight tournament, so that's going to take about a year. And I'm sure that the other middleweights are going to want the crack at the championship fight. So I guess we're just going to have to see. But, I mean, if I became the middleweight champion, I would prefer to stay that way. I wouldn't want to get stripped, but I understand that I have an obligation at welterweight doing that tournament. So I don't know. We'll see. I don't know.
Okay. And one question for Gegard. Gegard, I know your opinion on rankings from past interviews, but I am curious, if you were able to go out there and beat a guy like Rory MacDonald in what is, quote unquote, a super fight, I mean, do you feel there's a case for you to be made that you are the best middleweight in the sport right now? I mean, nothing against Robert Whitaker or anybody else out there, but do you feel like a win here, should put you in that conversation where you are the best middleweight in the entire sport, not just Bellator?
Well, I'm not chasing that title. I really don't care about that. All I care is on 29th, I have to be the best middleweight, and then 30 September, somebody else can be the best middleweight. For me, the goal is to be the best at 29, Obviously, it's all about matchups. If I would fight Whitaker, I think a guy who has a good skills of stand-up can defeat him. So, I don't care about being the best or not, but on 29th, I need to be the best.
Awesome. Thanks, Gegard.
No problem. Thank you.
Our next question comes from the line of Ty O'Keefe at the Fight Network.
Hey, guys. Thanks for taking the time to talk to us today. My first question is for Rory MacDonald. In your opinion, what has made Gegard Mousasi so successful throughout his career?
Well, I think that he's well-rounded, and he's got a will to win. So he always seems to find a way to win, even if the cards are against him. And he's skilled everywhere. So it's really hard to beat a guy that's good everywhere. He could fight you standing, he could wrestle you, or he could submit you. He's dangerous off his back and dangerous on top. So I mean, he's a complete mixed martial artist. So, and there's not too many of those guys competing at the top level. So I don't know. He's got the skills. Yeah,
you're definitely a well-rounded fighter. And just one more quick question for you. I know, obviously, you have a win over Tyron Woodley in the past, and it's hard to kind of ignore what's been going on over there in the 170-pound division. Where do you see Bellator's welterweight division, the level of it, compared to the UFC's right now?
I think they're competing very well. I like what Bellator is doing with management of it better. I think we have a more exciting division, especially with the way they're doing tournaments. I just think they're managing it better, their talent. They're giving us better opportunities. I mean, obviously UFC has great talent, but the matchups and the way they're managing it, I just don't find it very intriguing. And I find the fans are feeling the same way about it.
Just a quick question for Gegard Mousasi. The same question I asked Rory. Throughout Rory MacDonald's career, in your opinion, what's made him so successful?
Well, well-rounded as well, He's a stand-up, wrestling, everything is good. I think his toughness, he comes to fight, he's mentally strong, he's physically, technically, everywhere he's good. So that's why he's one of the best welterweights, and yeah, for sure.
And just one last quick question for Scott Coker. Obviously, weight cutting has been an issue that's kind of plagued MMA for a while now, more in the UFC, obviously. I'm curious, where do you see Bellator's role, or your role as the leader of Bellator in that type of scenario, in terms of if there's going to be more restrictions? Should you be a partner with USADA in doing that, or an enforcer of the rules, or what?
Yeah, when we talk about USADA, that's a whole other conversation, and I think I went on record that how I felt about that. So if you talk about weight cutting, that's a whole different topic, and we go by the Athletic Commission rules. When they said that they're going to change their rules to have the fighters weigh in the morning, we abide by that. We do check everybody's weight when they come in, and we monitor it all week long. So traditionally, a fighter on a Friday night or a Saturday will check in Monday, and when he arrives, we check their weight. We check their weight on Tuesday night, Wednesday night. We go through, some real due diligence here to make sure that these guys are not far off from their weight that they have to be. And I think now the commission has made it even stricter. And, we're going to abide by what the commission says. And I think that having that morning weigh-in, I think actually helps the athletes. And I think that should stay, because, they're basically starving themselves into the afternoon on Friday for a Saturday night fight, and that goes away. Let them weigh in, let them eat and rehydrate. But whatever the commission requires us to do, we're going to do.
All right, thanks a lot, guys. Good luck.
Our next question comes from the line of Steven Morocco with MMAJunkie.com.
Hey, Scott. I just wanted to follow up a little bit on the question about the title. What's going to happen to the title with the Grand Prix going on. Is there any chance you guys get into the interim title business?
We've talked about it, but it's not something that we're going to do for sure. But we almost did it with the Chandler Primus fight, with that matchup, and that's a whole different topic. But it is possible, Stephen. But right now, we're going to wait for these fights to roll out and see what happens, and see how it shakes up, and see what comes on October 1st.
Hey, speaking of that topic, what is the status of that fight, Primus and Chandler?
Well, that's listen, you got four amazing athletes, that are the best fighters in the world here. I think we should focus on that. And you can call me, offline, and we'll have that conversation.
Okay, fair enough. What do you think is a reasonable amount of time for middleweights to wait for the belt to be available if Roy does capture it?
It depends. I mean, in past situations, it depends on, the other fighter when they're ready. But if it's, it's getting bottled up, we'll definitely have a conversation. But listen, I think with the, like in Roy's case, especially if things work out for Roy, he wants to stay busy. I know Gegard wants to stay busy. Everybody wants to stay busy. So, as long as they're not injured, we're going to keep moving and keep that belt busy.
And a question for Wanderlei. It's been 12 years since you've fought at heavyweight. What's it like fighting that heavy or training that heavy at this point in your career?
I'm feel good because I don't gonna need to lose weight, and they're gonna have my full power, and I'm fighting happy. The truth, I don't like to lose the weight anymore. I like to fight in my weight. My weight right now, like 220, and I feel really good.
What do you consider to be your natural weight class at this point?
Yeah, natural. I feel good. I'm training good. I train with the young guys. I train with a team. I don't have a camp. No, I train with the guys. I make the class. I make jiu-jitsu class, wrestling class. And I feel really good. I'm so happy to back to fight again. And I know this song will have a great show on the 9th September.
How much do you think you'll weigh on fight night?
Again, please?
How much do you think you'll weigh when you actually step into the cage against Rampage?
I think in 220 to 225 is okay.
Gotcha. And Quentin, how are you feeling about fighting at heavyweight? Are you feeling more adjusted to the class?
Yeah, I'm getting more adjusted to heavyweight.
Do you feel better overall when you fight these days?
Well, it don't bother me fighting at 205 or heavyweight. Heavyweight, I don't have to cut weight, which is fine.
So, is there still a possibility that you could go back down that road in the future?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure if I can ever get back down to 205. I'm working on healing my thyroid right now. I heard that stem cell treatment can heal thyroids as well, so after this fight, I'm gonna check into that a little bit more. I'm doing my research on it right now.
Oh, so that's something you're still dealing with?
Yeah, I'm still dealing with it. It's, I'm learning more and more about it on my own because I found out that sometimes doctors in America and specialists and stuff, sometimes maybe who knows if they're like a great doctor. They can be a specialist or something, but who knows if they're a great doctor. And a lot of people with thyroid problems aren't like young athletes. They're like older people. And so most of the time I see a specialist, I'll be the first case. They don't have anyone my age and like an athlete, so they really don't know what's going on.
Mm-hmm. When you hear Wanderlei talking about the rivalry that you guys have and not liking each other, do you still feel the same way after all these years?
Well, I don't walk around hating people and stuff like that. No, this is my job. This is my career. So I don't like a lot of things about Wanderlei, but I'm not losing any sleep over it. Like I said, I'm always happy to get in the cage and punch him in the face.
Gotcha. And for Rory, what do you expect to walk into the cage weighing when you face Gegard?
Same as I am now, 190 pounds.
190 pounds. Okay. All right. Well, that's pretty much all I got. Thanks very much.
Our next question comes from the line of Gareth A. Davies with London Telegraph.
Good evening, America, Holland, Brazil, Canada. This is London calling. And to the very famous one in the fifth of the famous five, Mr. Scott Coker, very good evening to you all. I'd like to ask, first of all, a question to Mr. Rampage, Quinton Rampage Jackson. Quinton, you've said so often in recent times, nah, damn, another opponent who's going to come and hump my leg. Finally, I suspect, you have an opponent across the combat arena from you who is going to throw down with you. How happy does that make you feel? And do you think he will?
I'm tremendously happy about this. Wanderlei always comes to fight. You know what I'm saying? He's like one of the dying breed of the true MMA fighters, in my opinion. I feel like it's fighters like that, like with Wanderlei style and my style, and like Chuck Liddell style, and you know, other fighters style that made this sport so popular. And you know, and I just tell people misquoting me that I don't mind fighting wrestlers, but you know, if you wrestle somebody, take them down, ground and pound, try to submit, try to finish. But most guys these days, they just hold you down and try to stall out time and win on points. And you know what I'm saying, that's not what MMA is all about, you know. And so I'm super excited to be fighting against a opponent who's down to scrap, who's down to be entertaining for the fans.
Thank you, Rampage. Wanderlei, you're a legend as well. You and Rampage are both incredible legends of the sport. There's very few quadrilogies ever in MMA. How much does it mean to you? I was there that night when you fought Brian Stan working TV in Japan, when you and Brian threw down in an incredible battle. Do you think this fight with Rampage is going to be similar to that? Electricity coming off the fight, and that you're going to steal the show?
Yeah, for sure. I know this fight is going to be a good fight, going to be a great show for the fans. And I don't know if he's going to have the balls to be stand against me. I don't know. I prepare for everything. But see him accept to have a battle, we're going to have a great battle and great show.
You got the balls to stand with him, Rampage?
I love standing with Wanderlei. I love standing with him. If you go back and watch my last fight with him, he barely even punched me. He got some kicks off and stuff like that, but he barely even punched me. This fight, I've been training for like 13 long weeks. My cardio is mint. I can go hard all three rounds. I'm ready. I'm ready to put on a great show and show the world that my technique is better than Wanderlei's, and those first two times he beat me was mistakes.
Thank you, gentlemen. Rory, given the resume that Gegard has, even, you know, I'm not going to run through it all, but if you take where he's gone and you take into account things like submitting the likes of Mark Hunt at heavyweight, is this the biggest possible legacy fight you could ever have, given his resume and where he's been through the weight division?
Yeah, I would say he's it's the biggest name of a fighter I've faced so far. So that's exciting. He's fought everybody. He's been all over the world. He's done it all in the sport. So very exciting to compete with a guy like that.
Gegard, come on, be honest. You're facing a little guy, aren't you? He's a welterweight. You're a middleweight. You're beating heavyweight. You're fighting a little guy here.
No, I definitely don't think like that. I've been up to light heavyweight. I've been up to heavyweight. Actually, heavyweight was the easiest division. The guys are slow. I'm planning on to fight 3 more fights at middleweight and then go up, or retire. I don't know. But definitely no more weight cutting for me. But weight is not going to decide who's going to win. In this fight, I will be 10 pounds heavier. That's not going to, I think the guy that wants it more is going to win. But like I said, if I have to outpower him, outsmart him, if I have to make a fight out of it, we'll do whatever is necessary to win. And but definitely weight won't be an issue. It could be, but it's not the decisive factor who's going to win.
Our next question comes from the line of Femi Alexis of MMA Today.
Good afternoon, gentlemen. Just a quick one for Rory, if I may. You mentioned before that Carlos Condit was supposed to come up to TriStar and put in some work with you in preparation for this fight. Just wondering if he did end up making the trip, and if so, what was it like working with him, given that the two of you have squared off in the past?
Didn't end up working out. He was working on getting his passport situation resolved, and I don't think he got it done in time, so it never worked out this time, but maybe in the future.
All right, thank you. And just another quick one. How do you see the fight playing out on the 29th?
Well, I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be a battle of technique, our fight IQs, and also our physical capacity. It's going to. I think it has the potential to go in any direction, from ground to standing. So I'm just prepared for everything. With a guy who's that well-rounded, and myself, I like to take the fight everywhere, depending on what I see. I really can't predict. I'm going to be ready for everything and fight my fight.
Thanks, Roy. Appreciate it.
Our next question comes from the line of James Hamilton with MMA UK.
Hi there. My first question is actually for Rory. So, Rory, this is going to be your first fight at 185. Can you just speak about how this camp has compared to previous camps, knowing that you haven't had to cut that extra 15 pounds at the end of it?
Yeah, well, it's been awesome to just not have to diet and be starving in between my training sessions. So I've had a lot more energy to train hard, and I haven't been as grouchy because I'm not starving. So not that I'm starving like badly or anything, but I get to eat carbs and I'm happy. It's an enjoyable training camp, that's for sure.
Yeah, and also you mentioned that you didn't want to put on a lot of weight for this. Did part of that come from, obviously GSP moved up to 185, and if he put on a lot of weight and sort of suffered from that, from cellulitis, did you learn from maybe GSP's mistakes?
Yeah, he definitely gave an example of what I didn't want to do, but even before that, I didn't really believe in putting on weight. It's not something that I think is necessary. I think just being myself and fighting with the strength that I already possess, and instead of packing on, an extra 10 pounds of water or bloat, I just don't think it helps anything. That's just my opinion.
And just last one for you, Rory. Obviously, you have an opportunity here to move up and become a multi-weight champion. Can you just speak about what that means to you, or what it could mean to you winning that second belt?
Well, this could cement my name in the sport. It's Gegard's, like I said, he's been everywhere. He's fought everybody. This is the biggest fight of my career, from a bunch of different reasons. But this is the fight. If I go out there and I fight hard with passion, and I could cement my name in the sport. So that's what I'm looking to do.
Yeah, thank you, Rory. And just next for Gegard. Gegard, you have said in the past that you feel you have better stand-up than Rory. So coming into this fight, do you expect it to be a fight on the feet, or do you feel that Rory may come in and try and take you to the ground?
Well, I expect him to come and push the pace, especially being the lighter guy. But he will go for takedowns also. But I will go for takedowns too. I have no problem taking the fight to the ground. Whatever the fight, I feel like I will have advantage. I will. I'm not looking forward to go in there and brawl with Rory. If I'm the technical better guy, I'm gonna keep it stand up. If I'm in trouble, stand up. I will try to take him down. So it's an MMA fight. I think he will do the same.
Yeah, and also obviously seeing Rory moving up to challenge for your current belt at middleweight. Do you think that that's something you want to pursue in the future, moving up and possibly becoming a multi-weight champion yourself? When we signed with the Bellator, that was always an option to go up and fight. Now Ryan Bader is the champion, but I'm planning to fight 3 more fights at middleweight, and then I'm never gonna, because if I go up, I will never come down again. I've been cutting weight since when I was a kid. I'm tired of weight cutting. So if I go up a division, I will stay there. But planning to fight at middleweight a couple more times, finish contract, and then all my options are free, and then we go from there.
And our last question comes from the line of Dylan Bowker with Liberty Multimedia.
Awesome. Thanks for taking my call, guys. My first question was for Rory. I mean, you got a huge fight coming up here with a champion in a different weight class, and then you're getting into a Grand Prix structure after that, which is something your former employer doesn't get so much into, the whole tournament structure thing, and you seem like a fan of, that kind of stuff. Do you view the next calendar year as an opportunity for, yourself to really cement yourself and get that capstone for your legacy overall, like the ideal sort of capstone?
Sure, yeah. I'm just excited for a busy year. It's been a few years now since I've been really active. It just seems like I've been one fight a year sort of thing for whatever reason. Yeah, I'm just really excited. I have so many different opponents, and I'm just going to be a busy mixed martial artist. I'm going to be working a lot, and it's just about time. I'm happy.
And you're in a rare position, being that you know who your next couple of opponents are, and there's kind of like a tentative date for your coming fight with John Fitch here. So I'm kind of curious, like, are you compartmentalizing these fights as altogether separate things? Is there some degree of prep you're doing for John Fitch, and then you're just going to amp it up going forward? Like, what's the methodology for your next few months going ahead?
I'd pretty much just focus on myself. Obviously, when you're preparing for someone, you kind of have an understanding of what they like to do a little bit, but at the end of the day, I like to just carry in my own skills and focus on what I do. So I'm not really focusing on anyone. I'm just really trying to dial in my own thing, getting ready for these fights.
Yeah, I definitely get that and appreciate the insights. My next question is for Wanderlei Silva. Wanderlei, you expressed some degree of interest in fighting for Rizin on their New Year's Eve card. Is that something you're trying to get going? And if that's the case, are you looking to compete in a conventional MMA rules sort of fight? Would you be looking to compete in some sort of novelty martial arts thing, like the tag team grappling thing you had against Saku? Like, what are your plans in relation to Rizin's New Year's show?
We're gonna check with Bellator what his plans for me. He's gonna have a fight for me or on December or January, and what Stevie Coker say we're gonna do.
All right, and with that, I'd like to thank all of you media for sticking around with us and spending your time with us this afternoon. A quick reminder that the event for Bellator 206 takes place next Saturday, September 29th, from the SAP Center in San Jose, and marks the first exclusive event that's streaming on the DAZN streaming service. Again, appreciate your time and have a great day.
That concludes today's conference call. You may now disconnect your line.